And what's cracking, you guys? Welcome to the Mango Grove. My name is Krisha, and this is today's Bitcoin analysis video. Now, I'm going to try and keep this one as short as possible. Today, essentially, what we are going to be focusing on is, well, immediate price actions. I'm going to be covering the daily time frame and primarily the lower time frames to see what Bitcoin could be doing leading into, well, the next big event. The next big event, guys, being the FOMC meeting, and this one is going to be rather clutch. Right now, I don't need to tell you this if you guys are in this space, if you're keeping up with the global market, all the events that's going on in the global markets right now. You guys know about the banking collapse, right? First started off with Silvergate, which then led to the Silicon Valley Bank, which then led to Signature Bank, which then led to what was it? Credit Suisse. And now we have First Republic also going down. The thing about banking collapses is that it can sort of lead to a lot of systemic risk. Okay, so now everyone's waiting on Jay Powell to speak tomorrow. So that happens tomorrow. Let me just quickly take you guys on over to the CME Watch tool. So as you can see, the next FOMC meeting is in a day and 14 hours. So everyone is going to be watching out for what he says. As far as the target rate is concerned, right, the forecast for the next target rate. Now you can see what the market is technically pricing in here, right? What's this? Where's the sentiment really swinging? Now 27.7% of people think that they're going to keep rates flat, so they're not going to increase rates at all, especially with the backdrop of the banking crisis. And 72.3% of people think that he's still going to end up increasing it by 25 basis points. Alrighty, so now these are the numbers so far. What is my general sort of thoughts on, you know, if he comes out leaning at zero? So Sean and I were talking about this yesterday, and funny enough, I'm like, okay, what happens? You know, based on these two scenarios, if he comes in at zero, what will the markets do? If he comes in at 25, how will the markets really perceive it? And Sean had a good point. He says the market is going to get spooked out either way, because if they come out keeping rates at zero, keeping rates flat, the market, like, think of how people are going to perceive that. They're going to think that, oh, you know, something must be really broken for them to go flat on interest rates, right? And then 25 basis points is also going to spook them out because, oh, he's increased by 25 basis points with the backdrop of a banking crisis. Now, as things have unfolded, getting into this whole banking crisis, the Fed has already been reacting. They have this program that's come out that's almost an equivalent of QE. So there is a lot of liquidity already being pushed into the market right now, okay? Now, I had asked Sean earlier today, I'm like, do you think that this is going to lead to more inflation? I mean, they have been fighting over months and months and months raising interest rates. Do you think this one event just freaking undoes everything? And now that they're flooding the markets back with liquidity, you know, is inflation going to go up again? And he had a good point. He's like, well, think of the backdrop right now. You know, there's a bunch of banking collapses, and if there's anything that could very well happen, it's a credit crunch. When there's a banking collapse, right, banks are not going to be too excited to be loaning out any money to anyone, right? They're going to be saving their liquidity for any possible bank run that might just happen, right? So there might actually be a credit crunch. So this might not actually lead to that inflationary environment that people are expecting because of the new liquidity that's flooded the market. And of course, we're going to have to wait and see how these things pan out, because as far as the plumbing is concerned of our financial system, it's got a lot of externalities depending on which knob you twist and turn, right? And it's because of how complex it is very, very difficult to get a gauge on where the externality is going to show itself, you know, to get a gauge on all of the edge cases that could potentially play out. So we'll have to sort of wait and watch. But now I am a huge proponent of let price guide your decision making, because ultimately, guys, if there's anything that's kept you on the right side of moves, it is freaking price action. This is not just you reading tea leaves, okay? This, which you're seeing every candle, is a congregation of buyers and sellers, all the market participants. These are freaking human beings on a chart, expressing themselves and their sentiment, okay? They're literally feeding it to you on a platter. All you gotta do is just focus on the right things, okay? Don't get too stressed out with the fundamental landscape. Yes, keep an eye on it. It's very, very good. You get to learn a lot. However, as far as decision making is concerned, I have come to the conclusion that everything is broken except price action. Just listen to price action and it will guide you best. Now with that, let's jump into Bitcoin's price action. I'm going to keep this rather short. Now I did go over an in-depth analysis on Bitcoin yesterday, okay? So if you want something with a bit more meat to it, I suggest checking out yesterday's video. What do I go over? Well, I tell you guys, hey, would I be buying in this current juncture of the market? Okay, I give you my answer on that question. I also talk about, well, support to the downside, targets to the upside, as well all of the bull run triggers. Now, I am going to give you guys a quick recap on the bull run triggers because all of them, guys, have gone off. Okay, I was looking at 4. We got 4-on-4 bull run triggers that have now activated. It's done. Okay, over. That being said, now, because yes, Bitcoin has rallied. In fact, us taking out that last trigger, we actually closed significantly over the last trigger. So could we see a pullback here? So that's essentially what I want to discuss today. Now, I had these targets drawn out for you on my chart. Okay, now this one right here at 27,692 was primarily hinged on the targets that I come up with using price action, momentum, and volatility on my chart. Now, this is a target I gave you before price even got up there. Right, I said, okay, you know what, guys, this is going to be the next target. If Bitcoin closes over this region, only then will I anticipate further upside. Now, I wanted to, now the thing is that if I have to really sort of assess this picture on the daily time frame, okay, let's go and look at that daily close. Notice how we close relative to that region. We finally have a confirmation over 27.6K, okay, currently holding it as support. So I'm looking at the daily as a strong close. Okay, I think the daily closed relatively well. That said, could we see a pullback here? And I think that answer to the pullback, and I know that people are still looking for the pullback on Bitcoin. They're looking at the macro landscape of things, looking at everything, you know, swing bearish, which it is. I'm not going to say bearish, but there is a lot of uncertainty in the market, especially with the whole fundamental macro backdrop. But like I said, if there's anything that I'm going to tell you guys to do is just pay attention to price action. Price action is going to tell you where the insider's position. Okay, price action is going to tell you where market participants have the most cohesion, where are they most, which side are they most congregated on, because ultimately it's that volume as well as that cohesion that's going to push price in a certain direction. Okay, so pay attention to price action here. Don't get too spooked out on the macro fundamentals. Okay, now I'll tell you my very honest thoughts. I was going through the charts today and I'd mentioned this in the Grove. I'm seeing a lot of minor short opportunities on the altcoins. Okay, and when I say minor, I'm talking about really like scalp trades, you know, or like quick range plays. I'm seeing those sort of opportunities on the alts. I would not get too excited on it because I'm noticing the ranges to be had is not, it's not as intense as what you could see on the upside if prices across the board actually do decide to rally. Now, as far as all the charts are concerned, I think Bitcoin, believe it or not, guys, is looking the best right now, especially with this daily close. Okay, so now we'll still try and figure out whether or not we could see a pullback on Bitcoin, right? And for that, I want to first take you guys on over to the dashboard. We're going to start off with this, and I want to see the volatility profile primarily. That's what we're going to be keeping our eyes on. So what I'm going to do is I'm currently on the 4-hour time frame. I'm going to get to the drop-down list. Okay, now I wish there were flags here. Maybe we can add the flags as well, on the drop-down list. That way, if there's any divergence or something, we could, well, we could see it on the drop-down. Let me know if you guys would want that feature as well. Perhaps I can bring this up to the devs. Now, not much has changed in terms of Bitcoin's volatility as well as trend, right? The trend from the 4-hour time frame to the 2-day time frame was long across the board. Now, if you caught any long position based on when these reversals went off, now this the one on the 4-hour time frame went up 8 days ago, man. So we've been actually bullish for over a week, and if you managed to catch that trade, you technically caught the entirety of last week's move, right? A good 26-27% to the upside. So as far as the volatility profile is concerned, I usually use the volatility profile, guys, to help me figure out, you know, where is Bitcoin at in terms of its overarching trend. So what this is telling me right now, I'm seeing volatility at these very frothy numbers, saying that, okay, when it's that high, the trend is super aggressive, so we're likely seeing that uptrend being intact on the 2-day time frame, 1-day time frame, and 12-hour time frame. However, notice the volatility on the 4-hour time frame, moderate at 55, okay, and dropping, telling me that this is likely in consolidation mode. All right, so nothing much has really changed from yesterday. So this consolidation is still very much on our charts. Now, question is, do we break this consolidation on Bitcoin's chart to the upside or the downside? Now, usually when I see volatility drop and the trend still remain long, I'm erring to the side of the trend. Okay, so I'm saying that the bulls have the edge here. Okay, because if this was neutral, if this flipped neutral, that's when I'd be like, okay, you know what, perhaps look to see if there's any additional technical weakness on the chart, because then this could be signaling another move to the downside for Bitcoin, perhaps coming down to test its 12-hour level. Right, but now what this is telling me is that volatility is dropping, but that trend is not doing anything. That trend is still freaking bullish. Okay, so I'm going to be leaning to the side of the trend as far as this consolidation is concerned. Right, so now with this picture in view, let's get into the charts, right? Because now what the dashboard has told us so far is that the trend on the daily time frame, the trend on the 12-hour time frame, okay, and the trend on the 2-day time frame, that's all an uptrend. It's all still intact. However, the 4-hour time frame right here is where the consolidation is happening, and that is exactly where the consolidation is happening. Now, like I said, we haven't really lost the long signal on the 4-hour, and what I'm seeing on the 4-hour here is a symmetrical triangle consolidation. For those of you who do not see it, this is it right here. Right, so this is the symmetrical triangle. Now, the thing about symmetrical triangles on a technical standpoint is that these patterns can swing in either direction. They can either break to the upside or break to the downside. And that is primarily because if you notice the entire structure, right, you have sellers willing to sell, well, at lower and lower and lower prices. But buyers are also willing to buy at higher and higher and higher prices, right? So, and that's why they have like an equal probability of, well, breaking either to the upside or to the downside. But now question is, you know, if you had to really ask me, Krisha, what side are you leaning on? Where do you think this is going to break? And I have decided to, well, be very structured about how I approach this symmetrical triangle and this consolidation on the 4-hour time frame. And now, irrespective of what the macro backdrop is doing, I just care about TA, okay? And if I'm looking at this entire structure, I've decided to break it down into the bullish points and the bearish points. The first bullish point is that the dashboard trend is long. Now, as far as the second, this is the first one, the second bullish point is concerned, we're still maintaining the 4-hour dynamic trend. Okay, so 4-hour dynamic is still intact. Now, why am I giving this that much importance, the 4-hour dynamic trend? Because this right now, guys, is the signature that's being established on Bitcoin's chart ever since it broke out right here when Bitcoin was at 20K. Now, this was Bitcoin getting into the whole SVB dump as well as the USDC depeg event that all happened here, right? That led Bitcoin to actually break all the way back down to 9.5K. So now, ever since we actually started trending up, we have been trending on the 4-hour dynamic, right? So I'm looking at that as a bullish signature. That is what is sort of highlighting the trend for us right now. So we have that. But in addition to that, the third point on this is that I want you guys to notice the slope, the lower threshold of that slope for the symmetrical triangle. Notice how aggressive that slope is. Like, the buyers are bloody antsy here. They are willing to step in at like relatively higher prices compared to the last local low that it put in right there. Right, so I'm looking at that as a very, very aggressive stance by, well, people on the sidelines waiting to, well, get in their positions. Whether they're looking to get in long-term allocations or even short-term allocations, they're only looking to trade the range. But they're looking to step in at earlier and earlier prices compared to, well, the bears that are just looking to sell. Right? They're looking for that next higher bid. They're getting greedy on those bids. So for the third point, I'm saying buyers stepping in early. All right, this is going to have to suffice because I cannot possibly write with my mouse that well. And for the fourth bullish point, yes, there is one fourth one as well, is that we're currently living over that weekly sort of target that I gave you guys at 27,685. Notice just how well price has been respecting that as support even on the 4-hour time frame. Guys, when I come up with these levels, I'm using the higher time frames. I'm using the weekly, I'm using the monthly, I'm using the 4-day. Right? I'm currently on the 4-hour time frame, and the fact that price is respecting that so well, it's holding it as support. So for my fourth point, I'm going to say macro support, MS. So now these are the bullish points in this particular juncture of the market, okay? Now, how about the bearish points? What are the bearish tilts for Bitcoin right now? Well, if I'm being honest, it's a total of 2, okay? The first one is notice how the sellers... Now, guys, when you look at patterns, I want you guys to start breaking it down in terms of psychology, okay? That's going to be the next step to pattern trading. Breaking it down into psychology, that way you can derive better insight from the pattern. Okay, notice the sellers in this juncture right here and this juncture right here, right? They sold a bit right here, right? And now when placing their sell bids on this juncture, on the second move to the upside, right, because price went down to move right back up, and they were not willing to, well, you know, set in their bids at a lower price. No, they're like, you're going to meet me at the previous local high. And the market met them at the previous local high. They were rewarded for getting greedy on their bids, on their sell orders. Now, notice what's happened over the past, few hours of the day now, a few 4-hour candles of the day, is that they've been getting antsy. They've been selling at lower and lower and lower prices, right? Look at the freaking wicks on that. They have been very, very quick to sell into the market right there, right? So I'm looking at that as a bearish tilt overall. Okay, so I'm going to say fast FS, fast selling. All right, we can see them actually getting antsy at this level, because if they were willing to get greedy on their bids, this would not have been a symmetrical triangle. This would have been an ascending triangle, actually. Okay, telling me that the buyers are willing to meet them up at the previous local high, but no, the buyers are not willing to do that anymore. The buyers are antsy, and because the buyers are antsy, the sellers are also getting antsy here. Okay, so now this is adding a bearish tilt on this particular juncture. Now, another bearish tilt for Bitcoin on this consolidation is this. If I go ahead and turn on, okay, it got rid of everything. I'm just going to redo that. So fast selling, FS for fast selling. But now if I go ahead and put on my mango ribbon, I want you guys to notice price against the 10 simple moving average. Allow me to just fix my scale for you right here. Okay, we finally lost the 10 SMA a couple of 4-hour candles ago, and we've currently been using it as overhead resistance. Now, for as long as Bitcoin uses it as overhead resistance, okay, we start getting rejected on the 10 SMA. I'm saying we're likely coming down to test 27.6K once again, which, remember, is our weekly region of, well, resistance now turned into support. Okay, also notice how well price has been respecting that region right here on the 4-hour time frame. So this is going to be pretty freaking clutch. But breaking 27.6K is not just breaking a weekly level. It's not just breaking a macro level. We also then trigger the symmetrical triangle, but to the downside. Okay, what activates any pattern, guys, is the break of that pattern. Now, breaking that region is going to activate the pattern to the downside. Now, if that pattern plays out, where will that take Bitcoin down to? That will take Bitcoin right here to around 26.5K. Okay, but this is the second point right here, 10 SMA resistance. I'm going to say 10R, okay, 10 SMA resistance. So that is what's lending to the bearish side for now. Okay, I'm saying for now because, hey, if price starts closing over that 10 SMA once again, I'm saying that we're likely getting back up to test this, the top of the symmetrical triangle once again. Right, but now if I have to really sort of consolidate the bullish and the bearish cases for Bitcoin on this pattern, I'm saying that the bulls are winning here, right? It's 4 against 2. So, and that's why I'm leaning a bit more bullish on this consolidation right now. Now, if this pattern actually breaks to the upside, where will that take Bitcoin up to? Let's go ahead, plot it on the break to the upside. That will take Bitcoin all the way up to 29.5K. Although, yes, while it could get to 29.5K, I think it shoots higher for $31,000, $33,000. Where am I getting that target from? Well, let's keep that simple. Let me just get rid of all the brush strokes. Perfect, and let me take you guys on over to the weekly time frame. All right, switch on my Ichimoku cloud. There we go, and you'll actually find that we have the Kijun sitting right here at around 31.8K. Okay, I do believe that price then sort of gets up to that region right there, 31.8K. Okay, a nice, beautiful C-span trade officially completed. But yeah, this is what I'm looking for as far as Bitcoin is concerned. Am I bullish or bearish on Bitcoin right here? Well, I told you guys in the beginning, I have 4 out of 4 bull run triggers that have gone off. I am freaking bullish. Like, something really drastic has to happen on this chart for me to now swing bearish. So for those of you who need a recap on the triggers, I suggest checking out yesterday's video, okay? I have to head to the gym now, so I will be wrapping this up right here, but this is your immediate analysis on Bitcoin. If there's anything else that you see on the chart, if there's anything that you want to talk about in terms of the macro landscape of things, well, for that, actually enter the Discord chat. We have a fun community that is also very interested in macros, so definitely enter the Discord chat. So I'm hoping to see you guys there, but hey, feel free to leave a comment down below if there's anything else that you catch on Bitcoin that I perhaps am missing. I would love to hear that. Now, if you guys enjoyed this, make sure to smash that like button, and I will see you in the next update with this. Trade safely, trade stress-free, trade the mango way, trade the easy way. Ciao, you guys.